Oh, this is from Drew. I haven't seen this one.
This video is sponsored by Current. Stick around to the end to find out how you could win $500.
Hey guys, welcome back to 1986, the long-awaited sequel.
Oh, wait, before it starts. Is this the guy who beat Double Whammy? Am I remembering that correctly? The guy who like won $1 million from Whammy? It is not that guy. Okay. It is. I'm getting yeses and I'm getting no's. I'll just watch.
This video is probably going to be shorter than usual, but I couldn't not talk about this. So I recently bought a new Samsung TV, and the only reason I specify what brand it was is because it's important to the story. I use it to play video games and watch movies. You know, it's a television. But every time I turn off my PlayStation, it automatically switches to something called Samsung TV Plus, a service I didn't ask for and do not want. And the channel that's always on is Buzzer, which plays a bunch of ancient game shows that have.
This looks fucking awesome.
You'll have a show where the grand prize is $40. There's always ads for like child cigarettes, and Richard Dawson won't stop kissing every single woman on the lips.
What the fuck, Richard?
One time in an interview, he said it was for good luck, but then why not kiss the men too, Richard? They don't need good luck. But I'm not here to talk about Family Feud or sexual harassment. This video is about a show from the 80s
sexual assault.
What the fuck? Of the Century. Now, I had never heard of this show until last night at 2 a.m. And instead of explaining the game to you, I'm just going to show you what I watched so you can experience it in the same way.
So far, Curtis Warren has won cash and prizes totaling $45,950.
Ooh, baby.
5 seconds in, I already love this guy. They start listing off some of the prizes, which range from pretty dumb to cool as hell.
And continue a journey towards a fortune in cash and prizes, including this Mercury Cougar.
Or
that looks like shit.
So at this point, I'm thinking, okay, this must be some kind of Price is Right spinoff where they buy stuff. I don't know. Whatever it is, the host seems very excited to get things started.
Whom did you bring us, my dear?
She enjoys hunting moose, originally from Amsterdam, Netherlands. Let's hear it for Michelle Sakharov.
Hey, Michelle. Nice to meet you.
So far, you have this guy, who's the host of the show, but you also have this woman, who only comes out to introduce the other two contestants. And then you have these women whose entire job it is to escort them 4 feet to their chair.
I mean, it's a pretty important job.
A lot of cooks in the kitchen so far. Seems like you could have streamlined some of these jobs. But you have John and Michelle, who both start off their introductions with what I would consider to be equally bad jokes. But watch how differently the host reacts to both of them.
What's that mean, you lead a very filling life?
Well, I'm a dentist, and I'd say drilling and filling would probably be more accurate.
Drilling and filling.
No.
Nice to have you here with us, John.
You jokester.
Funny. John, you are a hoot and a half.
And Michelle, you don't look like a big game hunter, but you enjoy hunting moose.
Yes, the dessert. I go for chocolate mousse, and I try French restaurants.
He looks so annoyed. Michelle,
Thanks
I
for
guess
5
the
gift subs,
producers
Alpha.
didn't tell you, but we only have time for one joke on this show, and John already made it.
What the fuck?
Michelle?
Well, it's a good thing we had this nice long introduction for these two contestants, because I'm sure we'll be seeing a lot of them for the next half hour. Let's get started.
$20 starts all 3 players off. Let's go.
So is Curtis the Turbo Gamer?
Private investigator.
Private investigator Magnum PI.
He is.
Wow, that was...
I felt it.
Quite a fast buzzer, all right.
This New York City street gives its name to musical theater. Curtis.
Radio City.
Curtis is bending him over.
Make sure you know the answer before you buzz it.
What kind of board is used by a sidewalk surfer? Curtis.
A surfboard.
No. Sidewalk
Jesus,
surfer
Curtis.
is a skateboard.
Cool, so our boy has now answered all 3 questions, and he is in last place.
If you stay up all night working, you're said to be burnt.
Can you guess who buzzed in?
Curtis.
The Midnight Oil.
Yes, indeed, and he's back to the $20.
Curtis.
Curtis.
They're snakes.
That's what they are, and the champion back into the league.
Okay, so we've made it through one whole round, and no one else has buzzed in. Since Curtis is in the lead, and apparently the only person playing, he's given the opportunity to buy a prize. In this case, it's a fancy coffee machine.
Very nice. You like good coffee?
Curtis is on that Sigma male energy.
Aficionado, that's for sure.
Really? This guy drinks caffeine? Wouldn't have guessed. But he doesn't buy it, so we're right back into the trivia.
Who starred in the films Swing Shift and Curtis?
Goldie Hawn.
$10 lead for the Jets. You find a lawyer practicing in one or a tennis player playing on one. Curtis.
A court.
Court is what they have in common in the 15.
Damn, Curtis.
The title of Bram Stoker's classic, Curtis.
Dracula.
How about a Transylvanian Count Dracula? It is.
Speed Runner.
Are you guys noticing the theme yet? I can't tell if Curtis is a genius or if the other two contestants are just really bad. This pretty much goes on the entire episode.
My father, Curtis.
Lady Di.
That's exactly right. Lady Di, Princess Di.
And since Curtis is the only one answering, he's
wild.
also the only one getting money and therefore the only one who can buy the prizes. Hell, he has a chance for $10 whole right here, but instead wins a bunch of chocolate.
Chocolate!
$500 worth of chocolate.
Chocolate!
Forms much of the boundary between Texas and Mexico. Curtis?
The Rio Grande.
Rio Grande is right.
Does it say something? So John and Michelle must feel like fucking idiots so far, and then the host does this.
God, hit that buzzer. See that? All right, it's good. Yeah, darn right. Now, clear. Now, Michelle, that's it. Just got to get in there a little ahead of it.
John, I think we all loved that dentist joke, but you're making a fool out of yourself here, so why don't you pull your head out of your ass and answer a goddamn question.
What would you do with baklava? Curtis?
Oh, come on! So John might as well be asleep over there. But
John is
after
really fucking up.
13 questions, someone else buzzes in.
This
And
word
it's not
can
John.
describe both the birth of a chicken and something you batten down. Michelle.
Hatch?
Yes, indeed.
Michelle, you did it! Today is the day we finally take down Curtis.
Who was the president in office at the... Michelle.
Roosevelt?
No.
God damn it! Despite the small hiccup in his game, Kurt is not phased one bit.
The first television
tier one
soundtrack to go number
Alaric.
one on the pop charts. Curtis?
Oh, I don't know.
This guy is so funny. Oh, turns out I was not listening. Could you repeat the question? Fair enough. Curtis is so confident in his strategy.
And of course, I love
he would
Harry
rather
Mack.
buzz in and get it wrong than wait even one more second for context and risk letting someone else answer.
On what would you be riding if you were competing in a race called a... Curtis?
A bicycle?
Gonna look weird going over the hump in a steeplechase on a bicycle. No.
Clearly, though, it's working. Even if he loses some money here and there, he is.
So the other ones don't get to
in
buzz
John
in
and
after he
Michelle's
gets it
hands.
wrong?
Now she's rushing
Wrong?
to buzz in just to try to beat him, and that's backfiring. And John, poor John, he just has the most defeated look on his face. I told my wife this morning that I was
No,
going to
I
bring
just
her home
answered
a new
that, so it
car,
was about
and
Harry Mack.
Instead, I will be leaving with the
I said I love Harry
$20
Mack.
they gave me at the beginning.
Curtis?
Baseball.
Oh, and then check
Thanks to
this
tier
shit
one
out.
Robo.
He got some money. It's a $10 money card.
Video editing was awesome back then. Time for the speed round. Gee, I wonder who's gonna have the advantage here.
In what sport would you try to stay out of a sand trap? Michelle?
Baseball?
Wrong.
Oh, sorry
Golf,
about that, Michelle.
golf,
That answer
sand
is
trap,
only
and
correct
baseball.
when Curtis says it.
Name the TV bar run by Bostonian Sam. Michelle?
Cheers.
Right.
Wait a minute.
Camelot.
Right.
Fish.
Right.
Bunker.
Wrong.
An onion.
Tie.
German.
Right.
Michelle, you're really doing it.
Green.
Wrong.
Charles.
Wrong.
You're not doing it.
Curtis came out on top.
Well, she kind of rallied, though. Like, she kind of
That's the end
popped
of
off.
the show. There were about 40 questions asked, and John didn't buzz in once. No, actually, that's not true. He did get that practice buzz in.
John, you got the sportswear. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming out today.
Hey, John, thanks for looking like a fucking
You are
idiot.
just very bad at this game. You might be thinking, oh man, that's it. The century, and he won every single time. The only reason he didn't keep going is because they wouldn't let him. Unlike other shows, they would only let contestants win up to 10 games in a row. And if you did, you would either have to call it quits there or gamble all of your prizes
Chocolate!
for a chance at $50,000 by winning one more game, which he did. And he did. You're probably wondering if all the other episodes looked about the same.
Damn, Curtis.
$72,262. $86,200.
Curtis is kind of the man.
Heaven helps those.
I like
Who
Curtis.
help themselves.
Yes, indeed. And Curtis has helped himself to a $15 lead over Bob. How do you cook steak tartare, Curtis?
You don't.
No, you don't. That's raw. You're right.
Luau.
Luau is what it is.
The Fountain of Youth.
And that's what it is.
Basketball.
Name Naismith. You are right. It is basketball.
I'm a huge fucking Curtis fan. Holy shit.
February 29th.
Right. What travels at 186,000, Curtis?
Light.
Curtis back to 75.
He's a plant for
All
sure.
one and one for
I think
all.
he must be, yeah.
And we'll be married together.
Wrong. Name the sexy singer.
Cher.
Cher is right.
It's so funny watching him consistently dominate such a simple game.
$15 lead, $25 lead, $30 lead, $35 lead for the champ.
Seeing how quickly he'd get in the heads of the other two opponents. Inevitably, after a few questions, they'd start to sweat a little bit. They'd start to get antsy and try to buzz in early like he does, but it always backfires.
What French phrase is used to describe individually priced? Rick?
I'm sorry, I don't know.
Oh, incorrect. Although it comes from the Latin word for seven.
Hey, I'm dumb. Forgive me.
Well, you beat it to the buzzer, Bob.
That's what I wanted to do.
Even in the episodes where his competition gets a little tougher, he would just turn it up a notch and go full-on sicko mode.
In which state did the Revolutionary Wars Battle of Trenton? Curtis?
New Jersey.
Right. John Audubon.
Is he a subturtle?
Curtis?
Birds.
Right.
I kind of wish the contestants wore uniforms in this show, just so I could buy a jersey with Curtis's name on it.
Curtis has done it.
Ever since I was about 3 minutes into the very first episode I watched, I have been dying to recreate this show. So I did. Curtis, you've won 416 games in a row, made over $7 million in cash.
So how did he break
prizes.
two
You think
game
today
shows
is the
then?
day you finally get taken down? Not a chance. Well, we're all hoping you do, because we're in a lot of debt right now. Let's bring out the other two lambs to their slaughter. He's a world-renowned MIT professor. He graduated at the top of his class. Please welcome Mark. This next gentleman knows a thing or two about hats. He owns a bulk cap emporium in Polk County.
It's almost over. How does he break another one in that short time?
I am now
Makes me some
done
Thimbo
for the day. Who's ready to
and
play?
Polo Bear.
I am. Curtis, that wasn't a question, but glad to see you're already on your bullshit. Let's get started. Question 1. The 1916 summer... Curtis? Montreal, Canada. Montreal, of course, is correct. $5 to you, and our champion is out in front. Question number 2. In music... Curtis. A quarter note. Yes, indeed it is, and Curtis with the early $10 lead. How the hell do we beat this guy? I don't know.
What was his name?
3.
Curtis
This
what? I want to look him up
American
after this.
visionary invented... Who else? Curtis. Thomas Edison. Of course. That was a bit of an easy one. You guys gotta wake up. How did you know that? He didn't even finish the question. It's just context clues. Question number 4. Who was the first...
Curtis Warren.
Mark.
I'm gonna look him up.
Go on ahead.
Let's see.
Marilyn Monroe? We were looking for Joseph
English
Stalin.
gangster and
What the
drug
hell is
trafficker?
wrong with you? Curtis.
Probably
That is
not
absolutely right, Mark. You've got an extremely weird fit. That was one of the questions? During his run on Sale of the Century, Curtis Warren won over $130,000 in cash and prizes. Then 15 years later, he grew out his hair a little bit and was on another game show called Greed, where he won $1.4 million.
What?
I know it's kind of hard to see because this video only has 1 pixel that's stretched across the entire screen, but just trust me, okay? I looked it up and he was the only person to ever win over $1 million on that show. Aside from having a legendary haircut, Curtis Warren is one of the most impressive and successful game show contestants of all time.
Wait, how did he do it in
And when you
Greed,
Google
though?
his name, the first person to come up is
He's
an
an English gangster. I just did
so
that.
that's unfortunate, but it just goes to show you that money isn't everything. Hey, speaking of money, let's hear a word from today's sponsor. This video is sponsored by Current, the future of mobile banking. Guys,
Current does
I'm just gonna
slap.
say it, I don't like going to the bank.
Yeah, Current does absolutely slap. Hold on, I want to look up more about Curtis Warren before I forget to look him up. So he kind of breezed through his other one, which was significantly more money. So Curtis Warren. Where can I find like his total winnings? Because I can find his Sale of the Century run. I want to find him today. Destination declassified. Yeah, maybe. Give me a sec. Curtis Warren was an air traffic controller. Holy shit. The #1 game show winner is Brad Rutter, who was a record store clerk who took home $4.5 million in total winnings from a... what game show? from his 5-day appearance in Jeopardy in 2001. Wow. The only time Rudder ever lost on Jeopardy was when he lost to Watson, the computer, in 2011 IBM Challenge. Wow. Holy shit. He claimed in a 2005 interview to have flypaper memory, which helped him develop a love and mastery of trivia while playing on his high school's Quiz Bowl team. A self-proclaimed slacker with a poor attention span, Rudder dropped out of Johns Hopkins University and worked at a Coconuts record store in his hometown of Lancaster. He continued to work there even after winning on Jeopardy the first time around because he figured he would make more money once he got the inevitable invite to the Tournament of Champions. That's so cute. He's a tier 1 Sag in the Resub J. Brad Rudder lost in the Tournament of Champions. Did he really? Let me see. Oh, he's not even... Wait, I thought he'd be like really old. He's 43. Wait, when was his run? 2005 interview. I thought he was like old as fuck then. No, he's super young. Yeah, he did. He's up to 5.1 million in game show earnings. This guy's a fucking cracked gamer. And he looks like he's in his early 20s. This guy's aging really well. He looks younger now than he did when he went on Jeopardy. Oh, it's coming along wonderful, Pepe. Like, we're really cruising. God damn. What a cool story. Jesus Christ. The rules regarding consecutive wins changed in 2003. So when another contestant, Ken Jennings, had his 74-day run in 2004, he passed Brad, became the highest money winner at the time, but then Brad took it back. Jesus Christ. In 2019, Brad and fellow Jeopardy champion Larissa Kelly and Dave Madden teamed up for the All-Stars and they won $1 million and he walked away with $333K. This guy has literally made a career out of winning game shows. That's so fucking badass. 5.1 million in total winnings. Thanks to the gift sub, Axel. I've already watched The Most Radioactive Man. Fourth video, cheating's always interesting. True, but these are probably underwhelming, but I'll check it out.
Retail price, $23,743. You got it right on the nose. You're in both showcases.
Hey guys, and welcome back to Space
cheating.
In today's video, we'll be taking a look at some of the
doesn't even know how to cheat, right?
in game show history and exactly how they managed to sneak away with their winnings.
3-3-6, Michael. He says Michael's going. Wait a minute.
At least some of them. Let's jump right into this one.
I believe that's
seen. We've got a man by the name of Charles
Drew showed
Ingram.
it. It's just terrible quality.
Getting away with cheating us out of £1 million was going to need a mastermind with a
I thought he like broke it.
and a genius accomplice.
The former British Army major gained infamy in 2001 after September 9th and 10th appearances on the popular game show Who
Oh, I know
Wants
this
to Be a
one. People
Millionaire.
were coughing, or his
Ingram
family
played
was
his way
coughing.
all the way through to the final round
Let
and
him know
ended
the
up
right
winning
one.
the maximum amount of money possible, £1 million.
It could be a gigabit.
No cough there either.
I don't think it's a Megatron.
While playing, Ingram would take full advantage of the show's structure, talking out loud to himself and going over each answer multiple times. This didn't seem out of the ordinary at all because multiple contestants on different game shows have employed similar
Thanks for the
tactics.
gift sub.
And
Or the
Millionaire's
bits,
host
Laurel.
even claimed that the checks
Laurel.
signing afterwards seemed perfectly normal and nothing out of the ordinary had taken place. However, controversy sparked once one of the producers of the show got their hands on the footage to edit it together for TV and noticed that every single time Ingram said the correct answer out loud, someone would cough in the audience.
Diana develops a nasty cough of her own.
A1 or Craig, David.
As it turns out, Charles had plotted beforehand with
Such
his
a
wife
good
Diana
plan.
and another contestant
Such a
scheme
good
to
plan.
guarantee their success, which in fact saw either of the two coughing from the audience whenever Charles said the right answer. Labeled the most British crime of all time, Ingram ended up being found guilty for procuring the execution of valuable security by deception after 3.5 days deliberation by a jury. While Ingram wouldn't serve any jail time, him, his wife, and the fellow contestant on the plan ended up having to pay 115,000 euros in fees.
I mean, they won $1 million
by the
though.
name of Michael Larson.
I know this one. I know this one.
Oh, I drive an ice cream truck in the summer. I hope to win enough money here not to have to do that this summer.
Back in 1984, Larson applied and ended up contesting on the game show Press Your Luck, a show that revolved around game boards with constantly switching lights that would highlight numbers with cash prize amounts shown once selected. Larson had started recording Press Your Luck episodes shortly after its 1983 debut and quickly realized that the randomizer moving the light indicator on the game's big board only had 5 different patterns.
One prize worth more than 5,000. Some whammies. Be careful. Here we go. $4,000 on a spin.
Larson started to memorize these patterns, and after doing some practicing by pausing with his remote control, he was confident
It's
that
not
he would
even
always
really
predict
cheating. It's an
exactly
actual
where the light would
strategy.
end up. He also discovered that 2 specific squares always containing cash and never had the whammy. Essentially, the game shows bankrupt that would set your total earnings back to 0. One of those squares always contained a top dollar value, which allowed an additional spin in the second round, which he took advantage of to always keep himself in control of the board.
He's
as long as he
aimbotting.
kept following
Kinda.
the patterns.
It's genius.
Stop at 1,000 and a spin. 12,005. 6 spins, 7 spins. You haven't lost a spin, Michael.
Once he felt confident in his plan, Larson spent most of his savings to fly over to Los Angeles and audition for the
There's
show.
your Blueberry
Bobby
in the prime
Edwards, the
Zevis.
contestant supervisor, was actually suspicious about Larson and his motives for playing and didn't let him in, but the show's executive producer, Bill Carthers, overruled this and allowed him onto the show. Larson employed his tactics and ended up winning over $110,000, which has more than doubled in value since 1984. The producers of the show had checked over the footage afterwards and noticed.
Why do you
that
keep
based on his
spamming Arab
reactions,
moist?
Larson
I don't know how many
always
times I
knew
need to
that he
say
landed on
I've
a
already
big
caught
money
up with
spot
all of
before
it.
the prize amount was even revealed.
I don't know why people keep spamming that.
CBS initially refused to
Like,
pay
I
Larson,
clearly
but after
can
having
see
the
it.
legal team look it over,
And
they
for the millionth
realized there was
time,
nothing
I've
in the
already
show's
watched.
rules forbidding what he had done.
Jesus
so
fucking
technically,
Christ.
he hadn't even cheated.
It's
and
not
he
just
got to
one guy.
enjoy
I've
his
seen
big
like 10
payday.
different names.
Illegal schemes and issues with the law would run Larson dry of his earnings within 2 years, but hey, at least he had somehow fair fun while it lasted.
Stop at 750 and a spin.
And next up, you guys, we got a Spanish game show by the name of Pasapalabra.
I don't know this one, but Michael Larson's a goddamn hero.
Sí, Alfredo, en béisbol, entrada in.
The game show is well known for bringing in already established celebrities, and for this episode brought in Spanish television
Thanks for
presenter,
Prime,
actress,
aka.
and model Adriana Abina.
Una bendita. Yo ya me planto con una ya experimentada de lo que es ser mamá y me parece que es una experiencia muy muy chula.
During one of the game show's particular segments where contestants had to try to guess the tune they were listening to, Adriana was doing suspiciously well, all while before people realized she looked down towards her lap before getting the answer
Did
right.
she have her
As
phone?
it turned out, Adriana had her phone open in her lap with Shazam, the app that automatically tells you what song is
Wait,
playing.
what the fuck? That's like high school cheating.
Well, doing exactly that. This one is admittedly a lot more lighthearted than the other entries on this list, with the
Terrible,
host joking
terrible
it off
cheating.
and even commending Adriana for such a brilliant strategy.
Brilliant.
And up next comes a man by the name of Charles Van Doren.
Names a fermented milk food. At $2,500 a point. The category is boxing.
High pressure with big stakes.
Way back during the 1950s, one of the most popular game shows was named 21 and features a similar concept still employed today where contestants can keep coming back every episode as long as they continuously win. Well, after Man, that showrunners despised, had kept winning and winning, they decided to sabotage his streak by bringing in
Thanks,
Charles
Resub,
Van
come.
Doren, giving him all the correct answers beforehand, and having him finally dethrone the former king of 21.
That's fucked up.
My goodness. You want me to name the second, third, fourth,
5 wives, and what happened to all of them?
The showrunners liked Charles' demeanor and telegenic look so much that they wanted to keep him around on the show and intentionally helped him break the former champion's winning streak. Charles would go on to win every single episode of 21 for 2 entire months, being fed the answers beforehand and ended up winning just shy of 130,000
Wait, but
earnings, which by 2019...
Wait, what? What kind of dumb strategy is that? I'm assuming they didn't actually pay him, right? Because otherwise, what problem did you solve? The whole point for bringing him in is so that one guy stops winning so much of your money. But then you get this guy in here and you just let him keep winning your money. I'm assuming they didn't actually pay this fucking guy, right? Because then that's the dumbest plan of all time. Ratings or something? But they already had a win streak from that guy. They hated the other one? Did they not hate him because he was winning that money? I guess he was just like a really unlikable guy. Okay, I mean, I guess that's possible.
Equates to over $1.1 million. The predetermined streak would be a big success for both parties, as 21 would see the most intrigue and highest ratings in their show that they've ever seen before, while Charles will go down to become the most famous and even make it to the cover of Time magazine in 1957. After having enough living with the lies, however, Charles came out with the truth about being given every correct answer he ever gave on 21 beforehand.
You'll have to tell me rather than
He divorced her.
He did. You're right. Finally, the 5th.
The 5th. It's one more.
Charles' actions would go on to spark a lot of waves in the game show community, as it soon came out that just about every game show from the 1950s had their own form of corruption or scandal. An unfortunate truth, especially when you hear the quote Charles had given earlier in his string of victories when suspicion over his legitimacy was questioned. It's silly and distressing to think that people don't have more faith in quiz shows.
Van Doren retracts his earlier denials of getting any assistance. He admits that he received dramatic coaching and the questions and many of the answers.
And finally, you guys, we've got a man by the name of Terry Nees. By the time Terry shows up for that episode of Price is Right, the show's then 38-year history didn't see a single person perfectly guess the price of a showcase. Terry Nees broke that 38-year streak, as he'd be the first man in history to ever correctly guess the exact price of a showcase. Terry must have loved the patterns just as much as Michael Larson, because after studying the show for 4 months, he and his wife Linda realized every single prize on the show had been repeated, so they just had to memorize the values. After making it to the final round and seeing the showcase, Terry remembered his studies and figured the retail price must have been around $23,000.
$23,743. Wow. That's a very exact bid. Good luck. Sharon, here's your showcase.
Given how the Price is Right works, the following numbers were
That's just another great strat.
So Terry simply picked his wedding date and his wife's birth month to fill in the last 3 numbers, with April 7th and March giving him $23,743, the exact price. His explanation to Drew Carey afterwards led the show being almost completely changed, with an all-new showcases and prices to ensure this kind of quote-unquote
that's just literally not cheating.
Although, just like Larson, Terry got to keep his money, as no rule banned this method at the time.
$3, you got it right on the nose. You and both shit on the nose. You and both showcases. Hasn't happened since 72 or 73. Right on the nose.
And with that being said, that concludes 5 smartest games.
Yeah, I mean, that's just good strat. Like, that's, I mean,
if you've enjoyed the video, please make sure to leave a like.
There was like,
also comment down.
Out of this whole list, there was only 1 cheater, right? Or 2. I forgot about the British guy. There's only 2 cheaters. Everyone else just used like an actual strat. Oh, 3, I guess, if you count this goofy one, which I wouldn't really count because it's not like a real game show. Okay, so 3 out of 5, actually. That was interesting. A lot more interesting than I thought. Michael Larson, though, is a really cool story. Like, that is just such a fucking great idea. The guy studied the game by just watching it on his TV and using the pause remote in order to stop it to simulate the button. It's so good. God, his story was cool. I think he had a really sad ending, though. Hold on, I'm gonna look it up real quick. I know we looked this up last time, and I don't remember what it was. But there was something that happened after this. I think they might have like taken his money or something. Oh, this is what it was. November 1984. He learned about a local radio show promising $30K in prize money for matching dollar bill serial numbers with random numbers read out on air. Over several days, he withdrew his remaining winnings in $1 bills, examined each dollar, and upon discovering that he did not have the winning number, redeposited roughly half, but Larson left $50K in his house, which was stolen in a burglary while attending a Christmas party. Yeah, so he just lost most of his money. He also never saw the return of his winnings and failed at several get-rich-quick schemes. And then in 1995, he engaged in an internet fraud scheme run by a company called Pleasure Time, which raised $1.8 million from 14,000 investors for a non-existent American Indian lottery. Yeah. It was tough. But still a great strategy and a great legacy from Michael Larson. He was definitely bad with his money. Yeah, it seems like he was more of like a gambler. He was more addicted to the actual thrill of it, so he kept looking for more ways of doing that, such as like that dollar bill thing. But he could never quite replicate it. Oh, thank you for that. Thank you, Thieves. Sorry, I didn't see that till just now. I was reading that. And thanks for the resub, Agadina and Tramzarama. Thanks for the resub, Oxlogic. The